Welcome back to the 411 Podcasting Network. I am your host, Larry Csonka, and this is episode 64 of the 411 on Wrestling Podcast. You can follow us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, and of course, the 411mania.com website. Please make sure to subscribe to our show, share us around on social media, and if you have time, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Joining me today, as usual, is my co-host, Jeremy Lambert. Jeremy, how are you today?
I am well. I'm exhausted. It has been a long week, Larry, and we're going to talk about all of it. But I'm here. You're here. We're alive. That's all you can ask for.
That's right. It has been, there's a lot to talk about for sure. We're going to talk about Crown Jewel and the post-drama from that, MLW Superfight, New Japan Power Struggle, and all the fun surrounding ROH these days. It's plenty to talk about. Some of it horrible, some of it great. It'll be a good time. So WWE Crown Jewel took place this past week, Jeremy, on Halloween. And it was a show. We'll talk about it. Apparently a lot of people... Every
Saudi show ever.
Well, no, apparently it was the best one ever, and everybody liked it. And I'm a big meanie.
I mean, it probably was the best Saudi show. I don't think that's like high praise, but I'm struggling to think of a Saudi show that was actually better.
It had like 2 good matches and it had 2 horrible matches. Like, I don't know. We'll talk about it.
It had happenings, and I think that's what people cared about.
Oh, I guess so. Anyway, Crown Jewel started with a battle royal for the U.S. title shot. Humberto Carrillo won, Jeremy, 12 minutes. It was every battle royal ever. It was not good.
I was taking a shower during this. I didn't care. It was obvious Carrillo was going to win because, I mean, they needed a babyface challenger for AJ's title, and it was either him or Cedric. So which one did they want AJ to beat again is what it came down to.
Yeah, pretty much. I should have been drinking during it. But anyway, we started off the show with the WWE Champion Brock Lesnar defeating Cain Velasquez at 2:15 via submission, Jeremy.
Yeah, Brock, the modern day Hulk Hogan, bringing this dude in to get his win back from his UFC loss. I like this match. I thought it was something different. Cain looked like kind of an idiot, and you just completely beat him in his first match, which maybe not the best idea in the world, but whatever. They like Brock, and Kane's there for the long term anyway, so they can rebuild him at some point. Brock's awesome, though. His matches feel different. This was different. Like, they did the big Kofi win, which upset a lot of people, but now he's beating Cain Velasquez, a legit MMA fighter, in 2 minutes. So I thought this was fun.
I'm torn on who the better worker is, Brock or Cain, because Brock gets this guy signed to come in so he can get his win back in under 3 minutes, and then he gets to go home early from the event because he's Brock Lesnar and made like $1 million for showing up or more. And then there's Cain Velasquez, whose knee is apparently shot to shit, had AEW vying for him, got WWE to sign him instead for probably a shit ton of money for multiple years, and now he's going to have WWE pay to take care of his knee. I mean, that's some next level. That's like some Kanellis level shit.
It's a good gig. Both of these guys, they know what they're doing. And that's, I guess, maybe the UFC in them, because Dana White wouldn't let them pull this shit. Brock pulls this shit anyway, but I didn't have an issue with this match. I apologize, I'm eating on air. I didn't have an issue with this match, though. I thought it was it wasn't a good match. It was short, but it was different, and I appreciate that they did something different.
Yeah, I mean, knowing the knee issue, I can accept the result a little better, because, like, otherwise, killing Cain in 3 minutes is, like, incredibly stupid. So, but at least maybe they'll tell a better, like, redemption story later on. We'll see. But post-match, Brock...
I thought Michael Cole...
Go ahead.
Real quickly, I thought Michael Cole did a good job, like, pointing out that Brock attacked the knee, because watching it live, you couldn't really tell that Brock actually hit him in the knee, and that's what caused him to fall into half guard for Brock to lock in the Kimura. But Michael Cole was really good at, like, oh, he kicked him in his knee, like, that's his injured knee and everything. So Michael Cole actually did something well on commentary.
Yeah, commentary actually calling out something important is a nice change.
Yeah, and that's because Vince was too busy dealing with the Saudi guys to yell in his ear.
So post-match, Brock was beating the shit out of Kane, and Ray came in and made the save with chair shots and ran off Brock. So guess we're going to do possibly Ray versus Brock, which is actually kind of fascinating. I'd like to see that. Or, they could do a team deal with Survivor Series too. Who the hell knows? We'll find out.
Brock's going to kill this poor man.
Well, probably, but it's going to be fascinating.
It's going to be awesome because Ray bumps his ass off, and Brock is great when he's just tossing around little dudes, and Ray is the littlest of them all.
And we know Brock loves working with smaller work rate guys.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. Next up was the biggest tag team royal match in the history of the universe to crown the bestest tag team ever. The Good Brothers, Jeremy, won at 32 minutes.
This match went forever. Good Brothers winning was definitely surprising. It looked like the Viking Raiders were easily going to win this thing because they hadn't really been beating. They've been built up really well. They're the Raw Tag Team Champions. They came out last, and then the Good Brothers won. It made sense. It would have been weird if the Viking Raiders came out last and, they're the babyface team, and then they just beat a team who had to go through another team. It's like, that's how you're going to portray your baby faces. So I like that didn't happen. Good Brothers winning, I'm fine with. They did, the OC is one of the more popular things right now, and it gives Anderson and Gallows a little bit of an accolade there, but the match wasn't, I don't remember any of it. It was fucking long as hell.
Brother Carl needs another pull, okay? So, he needed the big win here. So he's
going to go back to Saudi to get his pull.
I know. I thought it was okay. It was really uneven. Like, there were some good points, but then it just got really long and felt lethargic. The winner's definitely a surprise, and that should obviously set us up a tag title match. So at least there's something solid coming out of that.
Yeah.
Next up, Mansoor defeated Cesaro 12 minutes and 40 seconds via pin. I thought this was easily the best thing on the show. First of all, it was very good. You got to play to your audience, and these people loved Mansoor. They wanted him to look good, and, they paired him with Cesaro, which is possibly the smartest thing they could have done because he works well with everybody. He understands what his role is, and he looked great here, but he also made Mansoor look great. I mean, Mansoor's like a dude that's like, you can tell he has talent. Dude has a great head of hair. I'll give him that. But he has some talent. He has some ability. He has potential. He needs to, obviously work more to get better. But there's a ton of potential there. And Cesaro brought the absolute best out of him. They had a very good match. The crowd was invested. And then he got to cut the big hometown hero promo afterwards, which, hey, holy shit, look what happens when somebody wins in their quote-unquote hometown. So, I thought this whole thing was the best thing on the show.
It was good. They're not going to do anything with Mansoor now, and I think that's my biggest issue with it is, like, when he won the Battle Royal, it was a really cool moment, and, the crowd is crying and everything, and he came off like an absolute superstar to anybody watching at home. And then he was never around and never existed until, I guess he did one match on NXT where he lost. But otherwise, he wasn't around. And then he comes back here and he beats Cesaro. Great match. Cesaro, he's not going to have a bad match with really anybody at this point. And Mansoor can work. We haven't seen much of it because we haven't seen much of it. And yeah, the moment came off big once again. Mansoor, again, looks like an absolute superstar in this moment. But it's so meaningless. It's so transparent of what they're trying to do. Is just like, all right, we're trying to just appease the Saudis here by giving them this victory, and then we're not actually going to use this guy. Shit, he might actually get buried moving forward with all the issues. But yeah, good match, cool moment. It was ultimately, most likely, I don't want to say for sure, but most likely meaningless.
I think that this win should qualify Mansoor to challenge Braun for his Big Green Greatest Royal Rumble belt.
Sure, I'm fine with that. Like, do something with this guy and do something with Braun, which we'll talk about next.
They announced that NXT will be part of Survivor Series this year.
Yeah, and then the SmackDown show was pretty awesome with all the NXT guys.
Triple H sabotaging the plane was a great move. Gotta love him for that. Next up, Tyson Fury defeated Braun Strowman at like 8 minutes via count out when he punched him in the face and knocked him to the floor.
This sucked.
Yeah.
This really sucked. Tyson Fury, I mean, he's obviously an athlete. He's obviously an entertainer. He didn't look like he was really knew what he was doing there. And Braun, not a guy who's gonna like carry the load in that aspect. And okay, it's like monster versus monster, but like it definitely wasn't Mayweather versus Big Show, which remains awesome.
It wasn't D'Angelo Williams in TNA either.
No, it wasn't. Tyson Fury just wasn't good. The finish really sucked, especially Michael Cole trying to sell it as like a knockout, and then the ring announcer says it's a count out. Like, good job, dude. You had a good moment earlier, and that was his one for the month. He used it early this month.
Yeah,
I guess he used it late. It was October 31st technically, so he waited till the last day to use it.
Saved it all up. Yeah, I thought this was horrible. Did not like it at all. Somebody got upset with me because, and I was being honest, Fury looked gassed at the end. Dude was moving so slow, his legs were heavy, and he's like, Tyson Fury can go 12 rounds. Wrestler would be tired after like 3. I'm like, here's the point that people need to understand. Boxing and wrestling are very different. Yes, if you put an average pro wrestler in a boxing ring, I mean, hell, if you've ever done like boxing cardio classes, that's why they're cardio classes, because they will tire you the fuck out. Because regular people that don't do boxing on the regular and train don't know how to throw punches and control their body and control their breathing. So yes, they would blow up. Same thing goes for pro wrestling. How many times do you see a guy that is a great athlete and then they come in and all of a sudden, well, why are they tired? Blah, 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 blah. Because wrestling is different. He got tired. He wasn't ready for this. Yeah, he's a showman and stuff, and people want to give him credit for trying to work a match, but it was bad. Brother got $12 million though, so fucking God bless him.
And it's like CM Punk used to wrestle hour-long matches, and then he goes to MMA, and he looks gassed after 5 minutes. It's a completely different. Everyone says it. Anyone who thinks that it's not a different kind of cardio is just kind of stupid.
Well, I mean, there's a segment of people that want to, in my opinion, are trying to defend this show as something good. So they're looking for any counterpoint to, like, in my review, any of my negatives for the show. So they want to find anything to counteract it. And it's like, I didn't enjoy the show. They're like, oh, it's just because you don't like the Saudi shows. No, it wasn't a good show. Move on. U.S. title match. AJ Styles defeated Humberto Carrillo 12:35 via pin. I thought this was solid at best. It didn't really play to the strengths of Carrillo, and he never really got the shine before losing again to AJ Styles clean. They never really got out of second gear. No clue what they're doing with Humberto, but he looks like he's getting the Cedric treatment right now.
Yeah, I guess that's how, like, this is how they think you make stars nowadays, is you make them look competitive against top guys, and then they'll be stars. And, I mean, how's that working out for Cedric? How's that working out for, like, Cesaro and all these other guys that have come and gone, and they look competitive against the champion, but ultimately lost? Like, Andrade was doing that for a little while. Just put guys over, and if you don't want to put them over, don't put them in this position yet. The match was fine, but I'm with you. It just felt kind of flat. Like, the crowd wasn't really all that into it. AJ looked like he didn't really care. Humberto looked like he didn't really care either. They were just out there doing their thing, working their house show match, and like that's pretty much what it was.
Exactly. Up next, they made history, Jeremy, and that's all I've heard.
Made
for days.
history.
Natalia defeated Lacey Evans wearing tights and a t-shirt at 7:25 via submission. Obviously, I guess they had to wear the t-shirts because they look too much like women, just fully covered up. I don't know.
Couldn't tell them apart if they both just wore black bodysuits. Attractive blonde ladies. Like, which one's which?
Yeah, so who the hell knows? I thought this was like most of their Raw matches. I thought it was perfectly okay. There was nothing wrong with it. They were being very careful to both babyface it up and not have anything that would come across as controversial. The crowd seemed to really like it, so hey, that's great. And you know, they hugged and shared a cry post match. It came off like a really nice moment. And I've been accused of underselling it, Jeremy, because I didn't throw it like over as the biggest changing thing in the world. I don't know. It was okay. I mean, like, I was glad that the crowd really liked it, and I thought it came off nice. I don't know what else you want me to say. I mean, do I think we're going to get, like, a bunch of women's matches going forward at these shows, if there are any more shows? I mean, who the hell knows? But, I mean, it was a nice moment and everything. It's just, that's what it is. Maybe I'd be a little more open to praising it more if we didn't have fucking 5 days of back padding after it.
Yeah, I liked this match. I liked that they kind of worked both babyface, and I understand why they did it, because as you said, you didn't want to do anything that would come off controversial.
And ruin a chance for another one, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also, like, you can tell they knew this match was in the plans before, but they couldn't, like, fully go with it, because otherwise Lacey and Natalya just wrestling this nice little babyface match doesn't make a whole lot of sense after the feud they have. But then the week after their big feud, like, they're teaming because they respect each other. It's like, oh, that planted the seed for them to do this match here. And in that respect, like, it worked, because if you don't do that, and it was stupid, like, it was stupid for them to just be friends after their big feud and Natalya powerbombing her off of the stage through a table. And then all of a sudden, all right, well, I respect you, we're friends now. Like, it's a dumb angle, but at least that paved the way to have them having this kind of match, because if they were still locked into a feud or just coming off this big feud, this match would have made no sense. Again, I like the match. The crowd was really into it. The crowd, that's what matters, especially to something like this. Like, I'm not someone who's going to be like, it's like, we know why they did it. I mean, we do, but you know, for those people in that crowd, maybe it's a false hope, because nothing in that country is going to change based on this wrestling match. But for that moment in time, like, that was a big moment for those women in attendance and those fans in attendance. And I don't want to take that away from them. So they really enjoyed it, and you know, that's good for them. That was their moment. They got that, you know, good on them. You know, as an outsider, it's easy to see through, but they got their moment, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take away from it either, because you can tell it meant a lot to Natty and Lacey, and that's great. I mean, that's very good, you know, but it's just like, again, I would accept a lot of this stuff more if WWE wasn't so quick to fucking pat themselves on the back about it. It's like, why don't you just let a fucking moment be a moment, okay? It's not
only Natalya and Lacey, like the women in the audience. I don't know what they're going through in Saudi Arabia, but it doesn't sound like it's very good. And for that 10, 15 minutes, however long the whole segment lasted, like, they could put that aside and feel like there was something, and feel like there is more out there to be proud of and accomplish. And you know, who knows what that leads to for some of these women. I'm not saying this wrestling match is going to change the world, but for the women there, like, it could be a big thing for them, and that's big, and it'd be foolish to try to take that away.
Yeah, and again, I'm not. I just, you know, I can only take so much of WWE's back padding is my thing. It's just like, I just think you should have let the moment play out, because they have the match and they hug some women at ringside, and that's all sweet, and like, the crowd loves it. It's like, just let that be the story, because that's more important to me than hitting me over the head with it for the next 5 days. You know what I mean? Because to me, that speaks more for the moment than anything else they say afterwards. Like, I'm cool with them posting Natty and Lacey talking about what it meant to them. That is great, because that's part of that moment. But I don't need fucking Stephanie on SmackDown and, oh, there's hope and we did this and blah, blah, blah. Fuck off. Okay? Just fuck off with it. So I think just all wrestling, this has nothing to do with this, but all wrestling, sometimes I just wish people could let a moment be a moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. I agree. I don't need the whole WWE like when Stephanie came out and the next night on SmackDown and was like, this is the Evolution. Like I really thought they were gonna capitalize and announce Evolution 2. Instead it was just like, yeah, I know. But it was like, look what we did in Saudi, and it's like, okay, we get it. Like they're gonna keep doing this, you know. The crowd chanted, "This is awesome," so that's gonna be the tagline moving forward, just like the "This is Hope" chant for Abu Dhabi. It's like, okay, like this is what WWE does. They're gonna beat you over the head with this.
That bitch did an interview, and she was asked about the Mae Young Classic and Evolution 2. They're like, oh yeah, you know, we're thinking about it, we're considering it, but it's just not in the plans because we had the focus on getting this match on this show.
Yeah, I read that. I was like, all right,
it's like,
sure.
Wait, you worked all fucking year to do one match.
It's a strange thing with WWE and how their attention is so singular, and it seems almost weird to say, but like look at the network. Like how long have we had the rumored like tiered network coming? It feels like over a year now, and like maybe it's coming 2020, but who the fuck knows? They like WWE hasn't actually said anything about it except out in the financial calls, but they haven't released like too much information. And they apparently the reported reason is because, oh well, we had to focus now on like NXT on USA. Like they can only put their focus on one thing, and that one thing like isn't even like this Saudi match. Like that one thing, I guess to me doesn't seem like a big deal. Like it seems like, okay, you're doing the match or you're not doing the match. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to. You either ask the Saudi people, can we do this? And they say yes, or they say no, and then you try to press them a little bit. But you've got 1 million employees. You can't be working on this other stuff at the same time as well. It's just very weird to me. But whatever. Yeah, no Evolution 2, no Mae Young Classic 3, and just I don't get it. That seemed like those should have been annual events, and you build up a lot of goodwill with those events. And they were just like, oh, we had to do this Saudi moment.
Yeah, I was gonna say you'd think with their vast staff that they could like delegate some things off, but apparently not. Apparently, everybody in the company worked on Lacey and Natalia Evans in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So, next up, Jeremy, Team Hogan defeated Team Flair in a shocker 1945 via pin. It was like kind of slow and okay for the first half, and then it kind of got better in the second half, and I ended up enjoying it and thought it was good overall. Was nothing special, but I thought it was at least good.
Yeah, I thought the second half was good. The closing stretch was really good with the baby faces kind of running wild there, and then Roman getting the win. Like it was fine. Everybody got a little bit of shine and whatnot, and you know Lana was there to make Rusev jealous and shit. So it was ultimately just another kind of like meaningless little match. That's really the only thing that's going to come out of it is Rusev and Lashley kind of continuing their feud, and that's it. Because some guys are on Raw, some guys are on SmackDown, and there's only one time a year when Raw talent faces SmackDown talent.
Allegedly. We'll see if that actually sticks, but because it didn't in this next match, Jeremy.
Well, yeah.
WWE Universal Championship Falls Count Anywhere match, Jeremy. The Fiend defeated Seth Rollins at 21 minutes and 30 seconds. I will let you go first.
The match sucked. It was the same match as Hell in a Cell where Seth Rollins just keeps beating the shit out of this guy, and he just doesn't sell any of it. And then in the end, they did a nice little callback to I guess every member of the Shield is just a fucking moron around pyrotechnics because remember Ambrose with the TV camera got blinded against Bray, and now Seth Rollins with the production stuff, he gets blinded randomly. Yeah, like these Fiend matches, like the Balor one was perfect because it was short. These two against Rollins, though, the dude just gets beat on for half an hour. And then like he's fine. I don't mind that gimmick, honestly. Like put the guy over strong. Cool. He can't be killed. Do that in like 10 minutes. Just cut it short because no one wants to see this dude just keep getting beating on and then he ultimately wins, especially if he's supposed to be like the heel, but I guess he's some big bad monster, but he's a baby face. They had something with this guy, and it feels completely lost now. And why couldn't you just do this match at Hell in a Cell? Like, you really had to drag this out for another however many weeks and do bad television with burning down the funhouse, but then it's back, and now the Fiend is the champion anyway. Just stupid.
You know, it's like over 20 minutes of this, and all I could think of was, whoever laid this out needed the immortal words of Dan Patrick. Look at what you're going to do, think about what you're going to say, cut it in half, and cut it in half. And that's what you end up with. Too fucking long. First of all, did you think the crowd was into this match?
No, the crowd really didn't care about this match.
Okay, thank you, because I keep having people tell me that the crowd was electric and engaged the whole fucking match. And I'm thinking, like, did I watch something different? And then I went back and checked it, and I'm like, no, they were dead for so much of the match. By the way, Bray Wyatt carrying his dismembered head lantern to the ring, that was a fucking bold move, Cotton. Let's see how that plays out. Jesus Christ.
That was you got to play to your audience.
Yeah, there you go. But first of all, this is peak WWE not pulling the trigger at Hell in a Cell and wasting it here after the draft, which meant obviously you had to move the Fiend or Brock, and they're going to be moving Brock to Raw. So they didn't learn with the atrocious lighting, by the way. It made it nearly impossible to see this fucking match at times when they were in the crowd. I hated that. The red light thing is a fucking disaster. They need to stop it.
I think that's why like the crowd isn't into it either, because of this fucking red light. You can't really see what's going on. Like it was the same thing with Hell in a Cell. Like the crowd wasn't really into it after the initial thing, and it just makes it tough to see. It doesn't add anything. It really just it almost takes, like, I'm not saying this is why the crowd was completely out of it because the match was too long and it was the same shit we've already seen. I don't think it helps though.
No, I agree with you, dude. So it's like, I've decided that Seth Rollins versus The Fiend is a special kind of bad. Because just when you thought Hell in a Cell was really, really bad, they made it worse here. I mean, people complain about moves not mattering and, oh, fucking finishers are kicked out all the time. Well, you know what? They've assassinated Seth's entire fucking arsenal in 2 matches. Because when you throw like 47 fucking curb stomps and can't beat a guy and mix in about 28 super kicks with it, what the fuck, man? I mean, there's nothing here. This match had no heat to it, no energy. There was no reason to become emotionally invested. They missed the mark at Hell in a Cell. They doubled down here to try to fix it, and they fucked up even more because it was just a horrible match. I mean, yeah, they got the Fiend the title. Great. Is it too late, though? Is it going to matter? This guy should be a special attraction. Matches under 10 minutes. Eats a couple moves. Fucking murders people. That's it, okay? 20 minutes is like the worst fucking idea you could do with this dude right now.
I like how you asked, is it too late for this guy? And he's really only been in this form for like 3 or 4 months. And it's already, they've missed the boat on it because they tried to hotshot it, but they hotshotted it too quickly, and now they've killed it. Like, that tells you everything you need to know. 4 months, Larry.
I know. I'm so fucking confused. Okay, so then things got even better. By the way, I thought this was a horrible show.
It wasn't great. It was the best Saudi show again. I don't know how much that actually says. We got the Fiend the title. That's what everybody wanted. So there's that. Um, the Brock Kane thing was fine with me. It was just another like overly long show that, and I like the women's match and the Mansoor match, like the two matches that were definitely the most popular matches and the Saudi crowd was into. So yeah, was it a good show? No, like there was no like outstanding match that I'd go back and rewatch a bunch of times, but I thought it was the easiest Saudi show to get through. Again, I don't know what this actually says. Comparing to other Saudi shows, it was good. Comparing to like a good wrestling show, there was nothing on this.
Fair enough. I'll let you have that one. So then things got even more interesting afterwards because, as everybody should have known, WWE had booked a charter flight to get everybody back for SmackDown. And then reports started coming out that there were problems with the plane. The plane wasn't taking off. They were saying that there were mechanical issues on the plane. Atlas Air eventually issued an apology. And then everybody started wait a minute, how the fuck is like, why are there so many, mechanical issues can't delay this shit like 24 hours. There's not another plane? Like they can't do anything else? And then more rumors started coming out, Jeremy. Former WWE Spanish announcer Hugo Sabinovich posted a video on Facebook claiming that the real reason WWE talent was not allowed to leave Saudi Arabia was because of a dispute between Vince McMahon and the Crown Prince. Savinovich claims that the WWE was owed millions of dollars by the Saudi government for their deal, somewhere between $300 and $500 million, and that Vince McMahon retaliated by cutting the Crown Jewel live TV feed in Saudi Arabia. It did end up airing, but it was like an hour later. This upset the Crown Prince, who responded by forcing WWE talent off the plane, causing the delay. Now, very fascinating, because if you go back and you check out my my report from the WWE conference call, every time they were asked about Saudi Arabia, the future TV deals, and how many shows they were doing next year, Barrios Bingo kept playing the, well, we can't comment on the future prospects of the deal right now because nothing is specific. And he just kept pulling the I can't comment on this card. And then there was the report that, talent got, quote unquote, got together to charter a flight home. And apparently the real story there is that WWE was chartering another one for talent, but it wasn't for everybody. It was only for, like, what they felt were, like, the 20 most important people to get them back for SmackDown. And then, of course, that failed. Now, maybe you're wondering, what was Brock Lesnar pissed off? No, he was fucking gone at his own private plane. That's part of his deal. What about Hulk Hogan, brother? Him, Ric Flair, Jimmy Hart, they got the fuck out of there with Tyson Fury on a private jet, too. So why didn't Vince McMahon stick around and take care of this? That motherfucker got out of town too. He left everybody on their fucking own. To which I thought in the back of my mind, and I will say now, what a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, there's a lot to digest here. I remember it was like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. on Friday morning, and Sean from Fightful messaged me and was like, there's some shit going down in Saudi. I'm like, first off, why the fuck are you still up? But yeah, and then the whole ordeal broke of they couldn't get out, and then, people did some digging and found out everything. You just kind of recapped there. I don't know what the truth is. No one can seem to double source anything, so it's all just single source stuff right now. If you read between the lines, if you read the tea leaves, if you piece everything together, pretty much what you said sounds to be the legitimate story, but we're never going to know these things until or unless Vince outright comes out and says shit, or somebody in a higher up position on that level it actually says anything. So who knows? If it is kind of the way you described it, it's terrible for Vince to do that. Maybe he didn't know that the Saudi government was going to pull that shit because, how can a person know that? He probably should have had an inkling, just given the people he's dealing with. And once he found out, he should have had a chartered flight again for those people, for everyone, for the whole roster, not just the 20 most important people. Like, once you find out this is happening, you bring another flight for everybody. Like, you got enough private planes. Shit, you've got enough pull and connections, I'm sure, to where you can do this. It may have been difficult because you're also dealing with the Saudi government as well, and that's, who knows if they're going to let planes in. Like, that's just a whole political or whatever mess that I'm not sure we can really get into, because we certainly don't know how that all works. I mainly just felt bad for the talent. Like, those guys were stuck over there. They already missed Halloween. Like, if they had kids, I'm sure you saw the tweets of like Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, like, talking about their missing Halloween, and Anderson talking about missing Halloween and stuff. Like, they had kids. They missed trick-or-treating with their kids just to do this event. And then, they're stuck over there an extra 24, 36 hours, whatever it was. They don't know what's going on, and like, we know the Saudis' history. It's confirmed that they killed a journalist. They beheaded a man because he said some bad shit. Like, now they've got these wrestlers on a plane. Like, who the fuck knows what they're actually going to do? We don't know what they're capable of. They already like stuck Vince on this money deal. Like, you thought, if anything, this would be a good deal, not publicly, obviously, but you thought it would be a deal that worked out because, all right, they're just going to pay this money. WWE's going to run their shows and it's going to be great. But a year into the deal, they were like, we're not paying for this shit anymore. And then Vince is threatening to cut the feed. Like, he just got two ginormous egos of, they're willing to do anything and they don't care who they sacrifice. And unfortunately for the wrestlers, they kind of got sacrificed here. And it's good that everyone's okay. I'm glad everyone made it home safe. I really felt bad for those guys, though.
Felt bad for the town, but yeah, I think Vince is a piece of shit for fucking leaving. It's like, listen, if you're not going to stick around to make sure your talent gets out of a country that far away from home, you need to have one of your fucking lieutenants there to make sure everything is okay. And by all accounts, that was not the fucking case. Bunch of low-level production people and fuckers like that. It was not like anybody important like Vince or Kevin Dunn or Triple H or anybody staying there. Because Triple H wasn't there. But you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck, man? To basically equate it to something basic everybody could understand, it's like a teacher at school. When you return home from the field trip, you're not allowed to leave till your fucking kids all get picked up. And in this case, Vince was fucking responsible. And this is where that fucking bullshit independent contractor stuff bites these guys in the ass. Because, like, what are they going to do? Can't fucking complain about it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Vince should have stuck around and made sure everyone got out of there safe and sound. Because, again, maybe he doesn't know that the Saudi government is going to do this. But there were there seemed to be some type of a dispute between Vince and the government. And if that was the case, then Vince should have had an inkling, okay, let me make sure everyone's out of here and the dispute, all my guys are good. The dispute blows over. I'll be the last guy remaining, and whatever happens. I'll keep a couple guys around. I'll keep some production guys around. Maybe you keep a few of the wrestlers. I don't know who you keep, but if you're Vince, like, you look better in that regard too, because it's like, all right, I'm sticking around with you guys. We're gonna make sure everything's handled. And okay, if he gets, either everything gets handled, if people get stuck and Vince is part of those people, those wrestlers aren't feeling as bad, because it's like, well, shit, Vince is stuck here, and you know what? Vince stuck it out with us. Instead, Vince just looks like he fucking bailed and left everybody.
He did, man. That show was over. He was like, you guys good? Deuces, I'm out. He fucking got the hell out of there, dude. He was not fucking around. I just fucking bullshit. It's not a good look. I don't know what's actually going to come of it. Raw should be pretty interesting on Monday, the day
like Raw throughout the whole day. Monday's going to be an interesting day because people are going to be back together. And I'm sure you saw one of the OC guys tweet like, well, we're going to see who the locker room leader is because someone's got to step up and, explain this thing. Vince, more than anybody, I'm assuming he's going to be at Raw. He's got to come out there and, explain himself
Vince
a little
better
bit.
start explaining, or Randy Orton's going to start shitting in some gym bags.
Like, I don't know how you're going to explain this, but you got to do something. You got to be Vince McMahon, I guess, and pull those Jedi mind tricks on these guys.
Well, the only good news coming out of this is SmackDown was a great and fun fucking show.
It was.
I enjoyed the shit out of SmackDown, like the little NXT invasion angle to start setting up for Survivor Series. More importantly, the show felt fun and fresh and a break from formula. I mean, obviously, NXT, they're going to end up getting some ass beatings on their end because, they're not just going to run wild this whole time, but it was tremendously fun, and I had a great time watching SmackDown. Probably the most enjoyable main roster show in a very long time.
Yeah, they can't do this every week, but
yeah,
it certainly felt different and felt fresh, and it was good. And we'll see what happens moving forward. This is I tweeted it out, but NXT not doing well in the viewership against AEW. They're closing the gap, I guess, because AEW keeps falling at especially this week, a dramatically alarming rate. But this is a way for WWE to get main roster guys on NXT television without it being very forced of we're just going to bring in Roman Reigns to do this match for no real reason just because we need to boost ratings. Like, now you've given them a reason to have whoever you want appear on NXT television. And will it help? I don't know. We'll see. But this was beneficiary for a lot of different parties here, main roster and NXT, because it's going to boost the profile of NXT, and that's what you want in this AEW war.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun, Jeremy. We are going to move on. MLW Saturday Night Superfight took place Saturday night. MLW's debut on pay-per-view. Delivered a 4-hour show, including an hour pre-show. Started off, Leo Bryan defeated Savio Vega at 7 minutes. Jeremy, your thoughts?
I didn't watch the pre-show.
Of course you didn't.
Look, dude, I had things to do. I don't care about this.
I know you were
pre-show.
watching UFC shit or whatever. I don't know. Okay. It was perfectly okay, but they did a fucking ref bump and cowbell shot in the fucking preview or pre-show opener, which was not needed. And then Vega got his heat back post-match with the kendo stick attack. It's like, whatever. Gino Medina defeated Airwolf at 420 via pin. Another okay match. Unfortunately, Airwolf impressed more than the debuting Medina in my eyes. Got a Dynasty video package. MJF and Richard Holiday were being glorious assholes as always. Next up, Hugh to LA Park defeated Zenshi 750 via pin. Good little lucha sprint. Enjoyed it. And then we closed the pre-show with Contra defeating Douglas James and Dominic Garrini and the Spirit Squad. Solid but a bit disjointed at times for an overall kind of solid pre-show.
Sounds like I missed a whole lot.
You obviously did. So we move on to the main show. The Dynasty arrive. MJF cuts a promo, running down the crowd, says that the Von Erichs suck. Mocks the Claw, and then Richard Holiday said they're going to kick out the pay-per-view because everybody's breathing rarefied air, and the Von Erichs are fake Texans living in Hawaii. They're so good. I love those guys.
Dynasty's so good.
They are. So, opening match, Texas Tornado tag match rules for the titles. The Von Erichs defeated the Dynasty at 9:55 via pin. Jeremy, your thoughts?
Good match. I thought they worked the right kind of style with taking out one Von Erich and a double team in the other until both Von Erichs kind of got together and then they got their big victory. So title change not too surprising considering MJF doesn't seem long for the company. I mean, MLW has TV tapings next week and MJF's going to be in Baltimore for Full Gear, so he's already going to miss the next set of TV tapings. And granted, you can do vignettes and stuff, and maybe they will have some of that stuff, but he's not going to be in front of the live crowd. So, yeah, it was an obvious title change to do maybe too quickly for the Von Erichs, but they really had nowhere else to go with the tag titles, and the Von Erichs are over, so I can't really say much about that.
Yeah, I agree. A good match, and again, like you said, I like the story they worked. It made sense, and it's a basic, easy story to work with baby faces like that. So, next up, Injustice defeated Gringo Loco, Seth the Mo Dragon, and Puma King 10.5 minutes via pin. I thought this was a really good all-action tag with no bullshit and everybody getting time to do their thing. Pretty much exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah, they worked a quick little 10-minute sprint here and no real rest. Everyone kind of got some shine and stuff, no dead spots. And I like Injustice. I said it on the preview. I think they're a good act and they work well together. So no surprise to see them get the victory here.
Yep. Next up was the middleweight title match. Champion Teddy Hart defeated Austin Aries 18:45 via pin. The story going into this was Aries injured Hart's neck to get the match. He cost them the tag titles, hitting a brainbuster on the apron. So that's how we got here. So the built-in story was for Hart to kind of probably lose, which I thought, and they teased that well because of his injury. They worked that into the match really well. Teddy ended up becoming the resilient babyface. The crowd loves him. He overcame the odds and retained. I thought it was very good, and it was also a different style than I expected because Teddy Hart matches aren't exactly known for holds and selling.
It was really weird. Like I was certainly expecting, Teddy Hart and Austin Aries to just kind of go all action, balls out, and be a Teddy Hart and Austin Aries match. And this was a very methodical match, and I didn't have an issue with it. I thought the work was good. The story was good. It was just surprising to see. And I think the crowd was a little bit weirded out by it too, because like they were into it, but I think they would have been, they probably would have been more into it if it was just kind of a high-paced action match like they expected. But because it was just more methodical, they seemed a little bit confused by it, but they were certainly into it by the end. And Teddy Hart winning is a fine call. And yeah, it was a weird match to watch because it definitely was not what I was expecting.
Yeah, me either. And it was it's kind of nice though when you can get surprised like that and it actually works though. Because again, love Teddy Hart and all, but he is not known for holds and selling.
Yeah.
Teddy Hart is known for doing crazy shit for whatever time he's in the ring. So, we got a video from Joseph Samael congratulating Hart and telling him that he's now a marked man. Told the Von Erichs they're not done with them yet, and then promised Fatu would commit a public execution of L.A. Park in the main event. I have no time for Joseph Samael as a wrestler, but he's actually a really good promo.
Sure.
Okay. You sound so enthused, Jeremy.
Yeah, sure. He's fine.
So, next up, Low-Key defeated Brian Pillman 820 via TKO/ref stoppage. Your thoughts?
Another, the finish was just kind of strange because you wouldn't expect that kind of finish, and I liked it though. I'm a fan of different type of finishes. That's why I like the Brock matches, and that's why I like this match because it is different than what you see typically. And Low-Key kicked the shit out of this dude, and I thought that was the perfect way to kind of do this match. Is Low-Key was gonna beat some fucking respect into this asshole Brian Pillman, and he did that by knocking his damn block off. So I like this match.
Yeah, they played the respect angle really well. I thought the match was solid overall. I thought Low-Key was actually really great. Pillman, again, he shows a lot of potential, but he's like really awkward sometimes in transitions and stuff. It's like, thankfully Low-Key was so good that he covered a lot of it up, but just a little janky and awkward at times. It was solid. I thought it could have been better, but he beat the fuck out of young Mr. Pillman, although I will say what was awesome was Pillman was paying tribute to his dad wearing the fucking Hollywood Blondes gear. So that was actually really cool.
Yeah.
And post-match, Low-Key showed him respect, so we'll see where that goes. Because again, Brian Pillman Jr., the story on him is every time he makes it to a major match, he ends up losing. So we'll see exactly where the story goes. Obviously, they've invested a lot in him. So, I mean, I think they have a plan. It's just, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Right. Yeah. They clearly have plenty invested in Pillman Jr. It looks like he's going to be around for long term. Although once he starts improving, like this time next year, I think he's going to have some pretty big offers.
Probably. They announced that MLW will be working with AAA going forward. So now they have relationships with AAA, The Crash, and Noah. Next up, Jeremy, Tom Lawler defeated
AAA working with everybody.
Yeah, apparently so. Tom Lawler defeated Timothy Thatcher 15-20 via submission. Jeremy, you're first.
Really good match. Really, something different, which you would expect from Tom Lawler and Timothy Thatcher. Like, they both work that grappling style, hard hitting strike, like just lay it in kind of style. And that's exactly what this was. And it worked, and the submission finish really good. So I enjoyed this match, and Tom Lawler winning, not too surprising. I mean, I think you said that Timothy Thatcher might be sticking around a little bit longer, but Lawler is certainly an MLW guy for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I thought this was like dirty, intense, hard-hitting grapple fuck action at its finest. I thought it was great, and I thought it was the best thing on the show so far.
Yeah, it was certainly the best thing on the show thus far, and probably the thing I liked the most on the show. I know the main event was really good, and even the stairway match was fine for what it was, but this was my favorite match on the show overall.
Fair enough. Speaking of the Stairway to Hell match, that was next. Mance Warner defeated Jimmy Havoc and Bestia 666 14 minutes and 10 seconds via pin. Manser was busted open and bleeding like a stuck pig for most of the match. Overall, I mean, listen, you're either going to love a match like this or you're not. I thought in terms of playing to the gimmick and delivering what they advertised, it was a great blood-filled plunder brawl. Exactly what it needed to be. Mance gets the big win over Bestia, and post-match gets power driven through a barricade by Jimmy Havoc and hit with an acid rainmaker, so their feud will continue. But I thought this delivered on exactly what it was supposed to be, and in that regard worked really well.
Yeah, another weird, I mean, not weird, the match was what you would expect it to be with these three guys, and advertising barbed wire and all this other stuff. The weird part was the Jimmy Havoc Mance Warner feud kind of continuing, because Havoc is an AEW guy, and like I said with MJF, they've got their show next week. Maybe Havoc isn't really needed on this show next week, and he can work the MLW tapings, because Jimmy Havoc doesn't really have a big role in AEW right now. But it's still an odd thing of he's an AEW guy, but also an MLW guy, and there's going to be conflicts of dates right there, and we'll see where Jimmy Havoc shows up next week, whether he's in Baltimore or Orlando. But this match was exactly what it needed to be. Mance Warner wins, not a big surprise. This was kind of, his match. He's the MLW guy, so you would expect him to win, and he's over. Crowd really likes him. He's got his style that works for him, and this was everything you would thought it would be as a Stairway to Hell match.
Anyone that comes out of a box, Jeremy, is fucking over. Remember that. So next up, openweight champion Alexander Hammerstone retained, defeating Davey Boy Smith Jr. 13-40 via pin. I thought they had a good match. It was kind of a hossy, beat the shit out of each other match, but flat finish when the Dynasty ran out for the distraction, and Hammerstone cradled him with the ropes to retain.
Yeah, distraction finish, roll. It was a very WWE finish, and that's not a compliment.
So next up was the main event for the MLW World Championship, a no DQ match. Champion Jacob Fatu defeated LA Park at 20 minutes. They brawled everywhere. They beat the shit out of each other. They both got busted open. Park had his mask ripped open. Joseph Samael threw a fireball at the fucking referee at one point. And it was pretty crazy. I enjoyed the shit out of this, dude. The end was, Fatu hit a catatonic but missed a moonsault. That's when the fireball happened. Selena got in the ring and tried to slap him, but Park ended up accidentally spearing her through the door or table in the corner, and then Fatu hit the super kick and Samoan drop, and the double jump moonsault to retain. So a great bloody brawl that played into the no DQ stipulation really well. Park was actually working his fucking ass off here, thankfully. And Selena finally got her comeuppance after months of costing like the entire roster so many matches. And we got the right winner because Fatu, again, is a guy you should be building around.
Yeah, I like this match. They did the smoke and mirror stuff, which you would expect them to do with LA Park being like 50 years old and working this main event. He worked his ass off. Fatu's really great. Park gigged and really sacrificed himself to make Fatu look even better, so that worked. I didn't like the finish in that it was clearly contrived, and I mean, I know when people are gonna be like, it's wrestling, it's all kind of contrived, but when Selena gets in the ring, like, she clearly like backs her way into the table, and you could just tell she was gonna be the one going through it, and I didn't like that. It was just so obvious that it took me out of it. And why was LA Park even like charging at Samael, who had his back turned, and Selena being there? Like, he was pretty much going to run Selena through the table anyway if he went and attacked Samael. So the whole spot it just didn't look good to me. It didn't come off as believable or logical to me. It looked cool, I will say that. Like, anytime you have something like that, it can look good, but it didn't come off as logical or believable in the way they set it up. But Fatu winning, obviously the right move. That was my only complaint about it, is I just thought that ending table spot just looked a little too contrived.
Well, I think it's fair, though. I mean, if that's something that kind of took you out of it, that's a fair criticism, man, especially on a finish. So I get that, but yeah, again, the right move, because for as long as they're going to have Jacob Fatu, you got to utilize that guy and build around him.
Yeah, he's not going to be there much longer because
probably not.
MLW ain't paying the money everybody else is.
And their contracts aren't exactly like ironclad or anything, so...
They're written on napkins.
Apparently so. That's how Roosh got out.
Yeah.
I thought they had a good pay-per-view debut overall, Jeremy.
Yeah, really strong event, and it was, an affordable event on Fight TV, and Court Bauer said that the early numbers were good. I don't know. I mean, he's not going to say the early numbers are bad, so I don't know how much stock you want to put into that. But MLW, they've carved out a nice little hole in the wrestling world for themselves, and I think that's good. They're doing better than fucking ROH is anyway. So
Could you see the interviewer? Court Howard Buys going, listen, man, I mean, you heard about that AAA show doing like 60 buys, right? He's like, we're at like 53, I think. I don't know. I just don't know, man. I'm serious. But yeah, it's like, he's not going to be like, no, they fucking suck. Nobody's buying this shit. No, I mean, I hope they do well. I mean, MLW has a pretty reliable audience that follows them on YouTube. I know there are a lot of people that seem to like it. Hopefully that translates to buys, because it was a good show. And like you said, it was an affordable pay-per-view for $20.
It was just a tough market on the night with UFC and the Canelo fight going at the same time.
Well, the thing is,
I guess not the Canelo fight, but UFC certainly was.
But with Fight TV, if you want to watch the UFC show, you could buy the MLW show, watch UFC, and then catch the replay. You're on demand.
Yeah, so definitely.
Yeah, so I mean, I hope it does well. I thought it was a good show and a good first foot forward on pay-per-view.
Yeah, we'll see what the TV tapings bring next week. MLW is an easy show to watch every week, though, if you haven't watched it weekly. Really, any hour-long show is pretty easy to watch, and MLW is no exception there.
Yeah. So, next up, Jeremy, we had New Japan Pro Wrestling Power Struggle 2019, early in the AM on Sunday. Opening match, Volador Jr., Teton, TJP, and Clark Connors defeated Liger, Tiger Mask, Taguchi, and Uemura 6 minutes. Perfectly solid little opener. I need more of TJP in New Japan.
Yeah, TJP's been good. He was good in the tag league and everything. And The matches he worked for Super J Cup. So yeah, he's good. I'd imagine he might be sticking around long term. I don't know, but they're gonna need some people for this New Japan US whatever details they have going on that, and TJP would make sense there.
Exactly. Next up, Taiji Ishimori and El Phantasmo defeated Robbie Eagles and Rocky Romero 8:45 via pin. Thought this was a good and fun little tag match with the champions winning clean to rebound from their recent loss to Roppongi 3K in the Junior Tag League.
Yeah, good match. And Ishimori and Phantasmo, the one spot where Phantasmo was walking the ropes and shit, that was another like kind of very contrived spot for me. Like it looked really cool, but Romero getting up on the top rope and then having to balance and all this stuff. Like why didn't Taguchi just or not Taguchi, Eagles just pull Phantasmo down when he was holding his hand as he roped.
Mesmerized by Phantasmo's balance.
Again, it looked cool, just very contrived and like, all right, you're taking a bit too long here.
I will say I have started to enjoy occasionally Gino Gambino on commentary because Ishimori and Phantasmo do this spot in every match where they put someone in the trio woe and then they end up both stomping on his nuts in the corner, right? Mm-hmm. And every time Kevin Kelly starts throwing a fit because, it's a babyface getting his nuts stomped on. And Gino always comes back with some bullshit like, they're securing the corner and making sure the ring was put together for later so Phantasmo is safe walking the ropes. It's just like the little bullshit heel stuff I appreciate sometimes. So, but yeah, that was good. And yeah, you're right, it was a little contrived, but at least it looked cool. So we'll give him that.
Plus, it did.
Plus, again, it was just a little undercard tag. And so, again, the champions pick up a win. They get some momentum. Next up, Evil, Sonata, and Shingo defeated Zack Sabre Jr., Minoru Suzuki, and Lance Archer 9:15 via pin. Jeremy, your thoughts?
It was fine. Evil and Sonata, they got to do something with these guys. They're just guys, and it's tough to get into them. They lose all their big matches. They'll probably fucking win World Tag League, and we'll get them against Guerrillas of Destiny at Wrestle Kingdom for like the millionth time, it feels like. I don't know. Just do something with my man Sonata. Evil I don't care about, but do something with my man Sonata.
I really like this. They're advancing the Shingo versus Suzuki story, which is going to be a match coming up. They also advanced Sonata and Sabre because Sonata pinned Sabre, so I'm pretty sure we're to get that Rev Pro title match at Wrestle Kingdom. I also think
that'd be better. I hope so. I hope that's.
I'm
what
pretty
they
sure
do
that's what we're getting, and I also think we're going to work into Evil versus Archer at the Dome as well. But post-match, Lance Archer challenged David Finlay for a U.S. title match in San Jose because David Finlay was a little bitch that ran in when he beat Juice and then wouldn't show up tonight. So Lance Archer wants to fucking murder him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm all for Lance Archer just cutting wild promos like that. He just wants to kill people.
Yeah, and an Archer and Evil feud heading into Wrestle Kingdom would certainly be. That seems like a good match as well. I hope that's the direction they go. You're right. That seems more logical than the tag league thing. But at the same time, it's Gato, and he only knows how to book one tag team match.
This is true. Next up, Kota Ibushi and Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated Kazuchika Okada and Yoshihashi at 9:35 via pin. Thought it was really good with everyone, including Yoshihashi, working hard. Tanahashi is so fucking good. He got the crowd buying on this one cradle for a near fall. So big. And
there's very few people in wrestling. It's like Tanahashi and Okada. Those are like the two people in wrestling who like their 2.9 kickouts are just the absolute best.
Yeah, I mean, he had people buying it hard. So I thought it was really good. Really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, everyone worked hard. Yoshihashi, I mean, he's not good, but you put him around these three guys and he looks a lot better.
And, so I was just, when I was doing my review, I'm writing up my, like, post-match little summary, and I was about to write, and Tanahashi is still directionless for Wrestle Kingdom. That was until we got a video from Le Champion Chris Jericho, Jeremy. He laid out the challenge for January 5th at the Tokyo Dome, not only promising a classic match with Tanahashi, but also saying that it would be Tanahashi's last match, and Tanahashi accepted the challenge.
Yeah, good. I mean, this was set up when Jericho faced Okada earlier this year.
Yep.
And I thought I said that Jericho was going to show up at the one show, King of Pro Wrestling, that got hurt by the typhoon. I still think that may have been a plan, but who knows at this point. But he showed up here, did his little video promo, and made sense. This was, you knew this match was kind of happening because the reports was Jericho was working Wrestle Kingdom, and there was even reports that the match had already been signed for Wrestle Kingdom. We didn't know if it was going to be the fourth or the fifth show, and it looks like it's going to be the fifth. And the 2-night Wrestle Kingdom thing, we'll talk about that a little bit later on with this closing segment, but we'll see what they do, because they got a lot of talent, but they've also got to make it make sense for 2 nights.
Yeah, so we will see for sure. Next up, Tetsuya Naito defeated Taichi 13:05 via pin, Jeremy. I thought this was really great. There was no bullshit involved. It was all action and violence, and that followed the build to this really well. Taichi was in dangerous T mode tonight. I love that because there's no fucking around. And even more important than there being no bullshit was the fact that it didn't overstay its welcome. It didn't go fucking like 30 minutes. 13-minute match, hard-hitting, fast-paced, right winner, made complete sense. I really enjoyed this.
Definitely. I was not looking forward to Taichi against Naito because I don't think their matches, for the most part, are that great. I much prefer Taichi and Ishii, but it seems like the Taichi and Naito matches just dragged down by too much bullshit. This was not that, though. As you said, they went 13 minutes. They didn't drag this out, do a bunch of bullshit. They worked a quick little match, and it was good. Naito winning makes a lot of sense, especially with the closing angle. Yeah, it was a good match, a rare good Taichi match.
Next up, Super Junior Tag League Finals. Roppongi 3K defeated Suzuki Gun 14:30 via pin. Before the match, Suzuki Gun attacked and they beat the shit out of Sho on the ramp and further injured his back, which was the story going in. And the overall story of the tournament and everything was that Suzuki Gun pinned Roppongi 3K prior to the tournament, and then they pinned him in the first night of the tournament, which means Roppongi 3K basically had to run the gambit and make the big comeback and win on the last night to get into this match. So basically the booking for this match was a good old Jim Crockett Promotions Rock and Roll Express booking where you take out one of the baby faces, you allow the heels to dominate until the faces can mount the big comeback, which is exactly what they did here. Again, much like Naito and Taichi, they did not overstay its welcome 14:30. I thought that it played off of the story extremely well. I thought it was great overall. I know people are going to complain about Roppongi 3K winning again. I still think we could end up with a triple threat. But I also think that this is going to be like the last hurrah for Roppongi 3K because they're going to split them in 2020.
It would make sense if they split them. They've done everything. Like, this is their third straight win. And it's like, okay. Like, I love Roppongi 3K. It's just how much more can they do as a junior tag team? You either split them or you move them up. Like, those are your two options. Good match. I am perfectly fine with Roppongi winning because they're awesome. But yeah, after Wrestle Kingdom, they got to do something with them.
Exactly. So post-match, Taiji Ishimori and El Phantasmo arrived and laid out 3K with belt shots and low blows, complaining that they should have been in the finals because they also had 10 points, but the fact was they lost due to tiebreakers. They then stole the Super Junior Tag League trophies, and my hope going forward is Phantasmo is such an asshole. I hope he goes full Owen Hart with the slammies with those things.
Yeah, they stole the titles or the trophies, so I hope so too. I think that would be a nice little homage to Owen Hart, but also just a cool dick thing to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's such an asshole. You just want to punch that dude. So it'd be perfect. Next up was the Openweight title match. Openweight champion Kenta defeated Big Tom Ishii 20 minutes and 10 seconds. Jeremy, I will go to you first.
Kenta didn't get a concussion, so that's a positive sign. Much better match than their match in the UK mainly because of that. But I mean, Kenta is good when he's conscious, and Ishii is Ishii, and they beat the shit out of each other. They had some callbacks to the one match. It did look like Kenta's selling job was really good in certain moments. Making it look like he was about getting killed. So overall, just a really good match. And then Kenta winning with the took off his knee pad to hit the go to sleep there. So super good match between these two.
Yeah, this was everything I wanted from the match between these two. I thought it was a dramatic, hard-hitting brawl. Kenta was actually being Kenta. Ishii delivered like he always does in big matches. There was no bullshit. That was the best thing about it because, as I've said 100 times already, Kenta doesn't need the Bullet Club bullshit to be a great and ruthless heel. He doesn't need all the shortcuts. He can do it by just being an asshole. And he's really good at that. So I've said it for months, and he proved it here. I thought this was excellent. I fucking loved it. It was the best thing on the show to this point. I thought it was Kenta's best New Japan effort so far, and after showing small signs of it, he actually felt like Kenta here. So yeah, I love this.
Yeah, I agree. I thought this was Kenta's probably his best performance. I'd have to rethink of his G1 matches a little bit more, but this was definitely it felt like return to form of Kenta, because after the Ishii match, starting with the Ishii match, those matches felt off, and it's no surprise that they felt off. The man got a concussion, whether they admit that or not.
Exactly. Add in concussion and overbooking, and it's just a mess. So next up was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title match. Champion Will Ospreay defeating Bushi. It's 16-20 via pin. It got crazy down the stretch. Bushi was making a big comeback. He hit the mist. They did a destroyer spot. They did a spot actually where he went to mist Will, and Will covered his mouth. And then he took his hand away, and he fucking kissed Bushi and stole the miss and misted him. So
that was awesome.
Yeah, so they had this crazy home stretch. You had the ref bump and stuff like that in there. And Will ends up hitting Hidden Blade and the Super Os Cutter and the Stormbreaker to finish it. Generally, you guys know me, I am not a fan of the bullshit in matches like this, because normally they take away from what could be really good matches. But this was a rare instance where I actually thought it added to the match, because they got the crowd hot down the stretch. They had them believing that Bushi was actually going to fucking beat Will here. Now, he obviously didn't, but the crowd was amazing for it. And I thought overall it was quite excellent. Will delivered again. Bushi had his best effort in forever. Because Bushi is one of those guys that's consistently good but rarely great. But I thought he was on tonight and deliberate. I thought the match had a lot of innovative stuff at times, really dramatic moments down the stretch, and exceeded every expectation I had for it.
I thought it was a great match. Will Ospreay continues to just be absolutely outstanding this year, and really for the majority of his career. And yeah, Bushi, I'm not the biggest fan of Bushi, but he really stepped up here. And I think that was the most telling part, is that closing stretch. It was not only just great as far as just their precision and their ability, but the crowd was just so into everything. And yeah, we knew that Bushi most likely wasn't going to win this match, but the crowd fully believed that Bushi had a chance and was about to pin Ospreay. And because they were able to sell that, they believed, even I on some of those near falls, oh shit, are they actually going to take the title off of Ospreay? Because the crowd was just so into everything. So look, if you can get even if I personally didn't fully buy it. If you can get the crowd into it, it enhances the match that much more. Any crowd is going to enhance a good match and make it great, and a great match and make it just completely memorable. And that's what this was. This was an outstanding match, and the hot crowd certainly helped it down the stretch.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I bought the Bushi roll spot. I thought he was going to fuck him there and get it. I was like, oh. Yeah,
dude. It was good. The crowd, again, because they were into it, they had you believing, oh shit, maybe it happens. And, we could obviously think probably not, but it certainly, the crowd made you believe hey, maybe it will.
And, we've talked about it a lot. That's the key in a match like this. I mean, the Kenta and Ishii match also had some really great moments on the stretch where you thought Ishii could win. This match was even better in that regard in teasing a winner. And that's hard to do because Power Struggle, a lot of the time, you don't get those big title changes. You get the occasional one, but you really don't get it. So it's like, to get the crowd to buy into it at that level, and again, like I said, I bought a spot too. I thought they were gonna do. I was like, they're actually gonna fucking do it. Like, holy shit! And then they didn't, but it was just it was great. So then post match, Ospreay grabs the mic. He asks if there's anybody else to challenge him. He runs down the list of everybody he's beaten in the division, and then says apparently there's nobody left, so he will be champion forever. But wait, Jeremy, it was not over. I wrote about it in the preview. I was actually right this time. A video popped up with the time bomb countdown. Hiromu fucking Takahashi is back. The video runs with the countdown saying he'll be back in 62 days, which is January 4th at the Tokyo Dome. And then Hiromu appeared in the arena wearing a neck brace. He ripped it off, charged to the ring. He's still a fucking lunatic. He took a bump into the barricade. Will lays down the belt. Hiromu enters the ring. He thanks the fans for waiting for him and wants to make the junior division more fun. He said he won't take it easy because nobody else can beat Will. He then took a bunch of fucking wacky bumps in the ring. He did a neck bridge and talked to Will while he was upside down. And then said, Will is the best man right now, but he's back, and he officially challenges him for Wrestle Kingdom. They shared a hug at the end. It was the greatest fucking moment of the year, Jeremy.
I thought when, the time bomb countdown was going on and they showed it and it had 62 days, I was like, all right, awesome. He's back. He's coming back for Wrestle Kingdom. Let's go. Let's do this. But he wasn't going to appear until then. I thought it was just going to be a video tease with the countdown. But then the time bomb is going off and he was there. I was like, okay, it's even better. It was a weird little thing, but it worked. I'm not going to complain about this Hiromu return. Hey, he comes back, fucking just takes guardrail bumps, takes back bumps, takes corner bumps, does the, standing on his neck thing to show that he's fine. He has Will, they give me the mic, so hold the mic so I can challenge you while I'm standing on my fucking neck upside down. Hiromu is just an absolute nutcase. I've missed him. I'm glad he's back. I'm glad he's healthy. And yeah, we're going to get Ospreay and Hiromu at Tokyo Dome, and it's probably going to be awesome.
Yes, I'm extremely excited. I'm so happy he's back. 17
Daryl was there? El Hijo del Daryl was there?
No, actually, that was Carol, I believe.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I don't know, but it was definitely Daryl, and it was the orange cat that looks like Daryl. So, El Hijo del Daryl is also, he's also a black and white cat, and he has a mask.
All right.
He went on excursion to the UK.
Gotcha.
So, with the Great O'Karn. So, anyway... Yeah, that was fucking great. Another big match set up for Wrestle Kingdom. So this card so far is, they set Jericho and Tanahashi officially. You set this officially. You have the junior tag match set. And then you're teasing Suzuki and Shingo as well as Sonata and Zack Sabre Jr. So a lot of attention being paid to Wrestle Kingdom on this show.
Yeah, and this is their last big show until Wrestle Kingdom, so makes sense that you would do what you can to set up anything you can.
And then the main event was Jay White defeating Hiroki Goto to retain the IC title. Katsuyori Shibata was on commentary during this match. Jay White was constantly talking shit to him as he beat down Goto. And then towards the end, Shibata had enough of Jay White's bullshit and Goto interfering. He took out Gato, beat the shit out of him, and then that bastard Kenta arrived, Jeremy. He attacked Shibata, and here's your key. Shibata's fucking wrestling, kids, because my man was taking some serious bumps. You go back to when they did that Shibata angle where he attacked and then he got beat down, quote-unquote, by Bullet Club. that was an angle where they were extremely careful with Shibata. Because they weren't sure then if he was going to come back and wrestle 100%. So they were being very, very careful. Not this time, my friend. Kenta was going full bore. Shibata was taking some wild bumps to the floor and shit. He's fucking coming back, and it's going to be insane. So Jay White retains. Thought the main event was really good. Probably a little bit too long at 27:45. We got the expected winner, but those Shibata teases were great.
The main event was too long, and Jay White winning wasn't really in doubt. Yeah, when Kenta came out and Shibata was on the apron and Kenta just full blasted kicked him in the fucking face, that was pretty much your sign that this guy, he's wrestling at least one match, because you're not taking that bump if you're not cleared in some capacity to work. And then the kicks on the floor were kind of more to it, because you're right, like the big Bullet Club angle, they were very safe with him. That penalty kick he gave him was it wasn't going to knock over like a child or anything. Like it was just the weakest looking penalty kick I've seen, and they were protecting him. This one, little less protection, especially that kick to the face that knocked him to the floor. I was like, oh fuck, like that's a kick you're only taking if you're good to go. So yeah, we're gonna get Shibata and Kenta, I would assume, at Wrestle Kingdom one of the nights, and it's gonna be pretty awesome.
And then we had a post-match kind of Raw opening talkie segment moment. Yeah, it was the only thing on the show I didn't like. Jay White was gloating about his victory. Said Goto's career is done because he beat him and he's an embarrassment. He's the man that sold out MSG. He's the last rock and roller, and he will soon add the IWGP to his IC title. He wants to face the winner of Okada and Ibushi on the 5th. He calls them out, but Naito arrived. He challenged White to an IC title match because holding both titles was his idea. Kota Ibushi comes out, said it has been a while since he saw them, and he has the same idea. Okada arrives, and he was like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? He kind of pulled the crowd, and then he said, he actually looked at Naito and dug it in from a few years ago and had that fan vote. He's like, maybe we should let the fans vote. It's like, God, it was fucking cold. He said he was proud to be the IWGP champion because this belt is the belt. And the best part of this was it closed with Jay White saying that everybody can fuck off because this is my moment. Give me my confetti.
Jay White saved this at the end with that closing line, but I thought it was fine when, Jay White is like, I'm going to challenge these dudes for January 5th. I'm going to be a double champion. And then Naito comes out and be like, okay, cool, whatever. I said this double championship first, but, you're free on January 4th. Let's do this match. And then Jay White could have done, all right, fuck off, give me my moment, whatever. But the Ibushi part was lame, and then the Okada part was pretty lame as well. And the crowd didn't seem really into it. Like even when Okada was like, "Hey, what about the IC title? What about the this title?" The crowd was like barely making any noise. Like they seemed confused by the whole thing. Came off just very, very flat. And Ibushi and Okada being out there was just kind of unnecessary, and didn't really care for it. Thought that was just not needed. But Jay White tried his best, and if it ends when Naito comes out and Ibushi and Okada don't come out, I like it a little bit better. But you include all that and plus the crowd reaction, just not that good.
Yeah, no, I agree. And again, that was the only thing I did not like on that show.
You're right. It was a very Raw opening segment. It was just like, all right,
it was the Raw revolving door segment, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, here comes the next guy, and like, what are they even talking about here? Like, either set up the match or don't. And this is again where you just have Naito come out. Naito says, let's fight on January 4th for the IC title. Jay White just dismisses him, whatever. Like New Japan, this is what they do. Then they announce the match at the press conference. They announce like, all right, January 4th, you're getting these matches. January 5th, the two winners are gonna face. That's your big main event. That's how you do it. You don't need Ibushi and Okada coming out there and doing all this nonsense that the crowd didn't care about.
I agree, Jeremy. So That was Power Struggle. I thought it was a show that totally exceeded expectations. I thought it was great. Highly enjoyed it. And the road to Wrestle Kingdom is it is hot already.
Yeah, I mean, Wrestle Kingdom's shaping up to be a pretty big show because, it's 2 nights, so you've got to really stack both of those nights, and it looks like they're going to do the double champion type deal, so that makes a pretty easy main event. And then you got Jericho and Tanahashi. I guess Jericho's not going to be there night 1, but he'll be there night 2. And, you got the Liger matches, Ospreay and Hiromu for January 4th. What are they going to do January 5th? There's, again, a lot of talent that they can do stuff with, but booking a 2-night event like that, especially if you're not going to do, all right, this night is going to have these matches, this night's going to have these matches. If you're going to do it, if it's going to be back-to-back nights where it makes sense, then you've really got to, you've got to book those nights in that way.
Yep, and we will see what happens. I'm getting pretty excited, though. We got some good stuff on tap. And Jeremy, we are going to talk about ROH now. I reviewed the UK shows, and for those of you wondering, attendance seemingly was about 700, and that is for all 3 shows.
700 people for 3 shows. That sounds like, good job.
Not good at all, and to quote a post from you on Fightful, Jeremy, things are not fine in ROH.
No, they're not.
Obviously,
they're terrible.
Obviously, Jeremy and I, we've been talking about the ROH issues for a long time. From attendance to booking to pretty much everything going on with the company. If you've read my TV reviews, you understand my frustration and problems with the horrible way that they're running their TV product right now. It's just worthless. And things got worse this week because first it was reported that Joey Mercury and Ring of Honor had parted ways. Mercury was a trainer at the dojo from 2018, and then he started working as a producer in 2019, back in February. Joey Mercury then took to social media and Twitter and fucking went nuclear on ROH, specifically ROH GM Greg Gillian, for his treatment of talent and all kinds of other shit. To run some of this down, Joey Mercury accused ROH of providing an unsafe work environment for talent, pointing out that no security, no medical staff, no women on creative, and worst looking wrestling on or off TV. Claimed that Shane Taylor is not going to be re-signed January 1st, and that Taylor had not been informed of this decision. Well, that seems kind of shitty.
Yeah, I guess we can break it down point by point, but it is an unsafe work environment, I guess. He elaborated more on that. The Shane Taylor thing is really not good because you're doing this angle and his contract is up January 1st, and this guy probably thinks like he's there for the long haul, and if you haven't told him, then you haven't told him, and we'll see, but it just, not a good sign if this guy's contract's up January 1st and you haven't told him anything about it.
He accused Gillian of not taking proper care of Jay Lethal after his arm was broken in the UK. That was a Holbrook thing. He said he was taking a nap or some shit, or he was pre-nap or post-nap. I don't know if that was some inside thing between them, but instead of being there with Jay Lethal. Yeah, he claims the relationship between ROH and Alex Shelley has fallen apart.
Well, I mean, that was pretty obvious, and it was also that Alex Shelley, has a trainer's background, and they wouldn't let him do any of that stuff, or a medical background, and he's got his doctorate and shit, and they wouldn't let him do that stuff, or they used him instead of actual trainers.
Yeah. He called Gillian a liability who is inexperienced and unqualified to generate revenue in his field. Also accused him of taking advantage of Bandito.
Yeah, so that whole thing was, he basically told Bandito that he would be worth the same now as he would be in 2020 or some shit. And like, if that's the case, then like, why would you sign the guy at all if you can't build him up? And that was Joey Mercury's big point, is why would you sign him if you don't think he's going to be some big star? You can't turn him into a star. So, and he wasn't going to pay Bandito properly. So yeah, that's how they're taking it. And Bandito doesn't speak the language and stuff, so he didn't know any better.
He also called Gillian out and ROH for not implementing proper concussion protocol and accused Gillian of allowing Kelly Klein to travel to South Africa to wrestle despite having a brain injury.
I mean, that's just negligence right there.
Yeah, that's some bullshit, dude. Listen, I don't think Kelly Klein is a good wrestler by any means, but Jesus Christ, fucking take care of the lady, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just fucking bullshit. Recalls treating Flip Gordon's elbow dislocation with the help of Bandito and Brody King instead of ROH providing proper medical care.
I mean, gotta learn on the job. These guys, they need professions after wrestling, and ROH was allowing them to be doctors. So when they retire as wrestlers, they can say they have medical experience.
Yeah, he showed proof that Gillian accused him, Mercury of being high at a show and then wondered why he was never given a drug test.
Yeah, I mean, don't accuse the guy of being high and then don't test him.
And then says that Gillian and Sinclair asked him for his prescribed medications.
Yeah, the implication was not to like check to make sure he was taking them, but to take them themselves. And they were basically asking him for drugs for them to use that wasn't prescribed to them.
Yeah, and then
which isn't legal.
Yeah, and then talked about how the contracts of Shane Taylor and Bandito expired January 1st, and PJ Black's contract is up February 1st.
Hypothetically.
Yes, hypothetically. Recalled the Be a Fan incident with Bully Ray and criticized ROH for not having any security at the event and putting Bully Ray in that position in the first place.
I agree with Mercury here. I thought he was trying to be a little too defensive of Bully Ray. Like, Bully Ray handled that situation terribly, let's be honest. But I do agree with him. Like, how can you not have any type of security to really handle that? And why should Bully Ray even be put in that position in the first place? So I get Mercury's point. I don't like that he came off defending Bully Ray too much, because he still handled that terribly. But to Mercury's point, Bully Ray should not have been in that position.
Yeah, and then there was a bunch of shit where he exposed that Kelly Klein was only getting paid $24,000 a year.
Dude, that sucks. Like, $24,000 a year to bust her ass to do all this shit. Like, that's not a good.
And then here's the kicker.
Not a good wage.
The fucking kicker is that the only request she had was she wanted paid an even $2,000 a month. And then this fucker was like, well, we can't do that because we'd have to do it for everybody.
Yeah. How is she getting paid then if it wasn't $2,000 a month? Like, just at the end of the year, here's 24?
No, I'd probably just get paid per event or something, but it sounds so fucking sketchy. And, Casey at Squared Circle Sirens has said several times that, like, besides the fact that we know the division is horrible, apparently they've made a lot of offers to people, but because of the work environment and the shitty deals like that, they're just getting turned down left and right. Although apparently Maria Manic is already back.
Yeah, well, they signed Maria Manic and Session Moth signed there as well. So, I mean, they're signing some talent. It's just, the whole exposing the contract thing was great, because it really just goes to show how bullshit these things are. Of, okay, Gillian is like, we can only pay you this much, and we can't do this for you because then we have to do this for everybody. And we know we have these non-disclosure clause where you're not supposed to be talking about your contract, but we know you guys breach that stuff all the time, and you always talk about your contract. Like, what kind of fucking contracts do you have if they just keep breaching this and they're all talking about their actual pay? Like, your contracts suck. And that's what Joey Mercury even pointed out in his long rant, because he showed the text of Gillian like texting him or messaging him like, you know, don't do this. Like, you're breaching your contract, and you know, this isn't like exposing private information and details. And Joey Mercury's like, okay, I'm breaching it. Fine, fucking sue me. Like, let's see this shit stand up.
So the ROH problems just keep getting worse, Jeremy. And dare I say that this is like Dixie Carter, Vince Russo levels of TNA bad.
It's god awful. Like, god awful.
I mean, we're talking gross incompetence now, negligence, unsafe work environment, and a product that is just, I don't know, man. It's fucking, I mean, I'm getting Dying Days of the AWA vibes.
They turned Matt Taven babyface. That's going to turn everything around.
Yes, he's going to feud with Vinny fucking Marseglia, the balloon guy.
How dare you? This is going to set the business on fire.
Oh, I can't wait for that epic grudge match of Final Battle.
I guess I don't. I saw that they had their show last night, and like just no one gave a fuck about it because it was a bad night anyway. But
53 of their closest friends were in attendance.
Yeah, the company. I mean, we've talked about their issues for seemingly like all year, ever since
G1 Supercard, man.
Yeah, ever since G1 Supercard. Like we've discussed how things have just fallen off of a cliff for them, and now they're even worse than they appeared. Like, they appear really bad on screen because no one's attending these shows, and you know, no one's making noise. They got no buzz. They have absolutely nothing. They've got all these incidents with the Be a Fan stuff and guys leaving and them not knowing how to book. But they're like even worse behind the scenes when you read some of this stuff about just letting people perform with concussions, not having proper medical staff, not having proper security. Like, there's just so many issues behind the scenes. It's like, yeah, the on-screen product is absolutely terrible, but it's even worse when you peel back the curtain. And I've said it many times. I think they're WWE property by the fall of 2020. I just don't see how they last. Like, they're not doing anything. They get more and more issues behind the scenes, and it's just like, I don't know how you last, because guys aren't going to want to work there whenever their contract is up. They can't seem to pay anybody. I mean, Matt Taven, look, if they're spending this money on Matt fucking Taven, then, which I still don't buy, by the way, I don't think he's making triple NXT salary, but if he is, this goes to show how incompetent this entire company is, to be honest. And they're spending that much money on Matt Taven.
There's been a lot of speculation on that WWE front, Jeremy, because Joe Koff is getting older. He's the dude that's running ROH for Sinclair, and apparently he's looking to retire. And the feeling is that Sinclair may want to unload the company. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously WWE seems like the obvious choice, but I mean, do you think Anthem would nut up some more money since they just bought their own fucking network? Because they're looking to buy more content for like the Fight Network and shit too. So I wouldn't rule that out if they can get the equity to do so. But yeah, it does not look good for ROH. It's like, I don't see Cobb staying, because his main reason for working ROH. I
don't see anybody staying.
Well, hang on. His main reason for working ROH was so he could get New Japan dates. But with New Japan now going to running the U.S. arm, I'm sure they're going to be more than willing to sign Cobb so they can have him for that and obviously use him in Japan. Can't see Bandito staying. Can't see Dragon Lee signing with them, because everybody wants fucking Dragon Lee. You know, it's like, I don't know, dude. It is not a good situation at all. And it's like, I kind of jokingly have this in our thing, but it's like, the question is ROH now a dumpster fire? It's like, it's looking that way.
It's been a dumpster fire. I mean, you've got your women. Kelly Klein's the women's champion, right?
Yes.
Okay. Clearly my favorite division.
Unless you watch ROH TV. If you watch ROH TV, Angelina Love is still the champion because they're so far behind.
No one watch it. That's the other issue. Like, I mean, I don't want to beat this dead horse, but TV and the pay-per-view product or the Honor Club product, whatever, they're two different products. Like, you got to follow. This is why I gave up watching ROH TV, because it's not a TV show. Like, do they even have television tapings anymore? They just do their like shows. They did their show last night. It's an
Honor Club taping, and then they use it on TV.
Okay, sure. It's a company that doesn't make sense, and they don't know what they're doing. And yeah, whether it's WWE, whether it's Anthem, whoever buys them, I mean, I always just think it's going to be WWE, because that's where they're going to, like, they want that tape library. That tape library would be like, imagine how big that tape library would be for WWE to put on the network.
Oh yeah.
They would draw that would boost subscribers right there, because you get those classic Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, CM Punk matches, like those era. You basically get Rollins' career at that point. Like you get so many.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Like, you get so many guys who you have under your contract. Like, you get a big bulk of their career and their rise up the independent scenes with that tape library, and that's a lot of money for them. Obviously, like, whatever they pay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, if I'm WWE, I make a heavy push for it, because as you mentioned, there's so many people they have under contract. That's so many things they can put together. They've licensed footage off of ROH in the past, so then you wouldn't have to do that anymore, because you would own it. And then the other thing, too, is you basically pull a WCW with it. You buy the company for whatever you buy it for, mainly for the tape library. You keep a couple talents, and then you shut the company down, because that's exactly what they'll do. They're not going to keep it open. You know? They're going to get it for the library.
They're not keeping it. Yeah, they're not keeping it open unless they go with like a tiered network thing, and then they just have more wrestling on their television. Like the same thing with like Evolve, but then they replace the people like Gillian with actual competent people, and then they just have more wrestling on the network, because those guys are gonna they're gonna need they're going to need content if they go to the tiered network. And we know they're all about producing content. That's legitimately all they can talk about on the financial calls nowadays, because everything else is down. But they're like, but we're doing 18 hours of live content every week. And so that's their big selling point. ROH is just, it's trash. And I guess people get mad because I probably sound like I don't care when we review and preview these shows. Shit, you should listen to me and Larry off the air, when I feel very indifferent of when he's like, we're going to talk about ROH. And I'm just like, do we really have to talk about ROH? It's just, it's a bad company. It's a bad wrestling company. There's so much good stuff out there that it just feels dumb to keep wasting our time talking about ROH and these ultimately meaningless events. What if you want to bury ROH? I'm all for that.
And add into the fact that they had to cancel those upcoming Texas shows because of basically nobody going.
What'd they call that? Like a scheduling conflict or some shit?
Scheduling conflict, because nobody could find time in their schedule to go. Not good, man.
Yeah, like they already moved the one show. Yeah, they moved, like it was supposed to be at one arena, and then they moved it to another arena, and they just flat out rescheduled it for like June 2022. So it's like almost a year that they pushed it back. It's like, yeah, you're not going to be around in June 2020.
Yeah, it's
They're still doing meet and greets though. I want to go to this meet and greet and see how many people actually show up for that.
Yeah, it's not good, Jeremy. It's definitely in a bad place. So we'll see what happens with it. But I'd be lying if I said it looked good, because it doesn't.
I told you they're WWE property this time next year. Like September 2020. If they are not WWE property by September 2020, I think that's when I first mentioned the idea that they were going to be bought by WWE. I would be absolutely stunned. It would be a TNA situation of, I don't think anything turns around by September 2020. They just, for some reason, the plug has not been pulled on them.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. So that is today's show. I want to thank everybody for listening. Remember, this is the 411 on Wrestling podcast. You can follow us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, and of course the 411mania.com website. Please make sure to subscribe to the show, share us around on social media, and if you have time, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Jeremy, thank you as always, buddy.
Yeah, do we want to tell the listeners of our big plans for this week?
Tell the listeners, Jeremy.
Well, I'm going to be at AEW Dynamite. It's in Charlotte. I'm going to be at the show on Wednesday, and then so usually we record Wednesday night, Thursday morning, talking AEW and NXT, but because of my schedule, and then I'm going to be headed to Baltimore for StarCast and Full Gear on Thursday, so you're going to get live perspective of the AEW goodness and all the backstage scoops that I'm definitely not going to have when we do podcasts. So we're recording on Thursday while I make my drive to Baltimore, so you're going to get all the AEW scoops, and then from Dynamite, and we're recording Sunday when I drive back from Baltimore back home. So you get all the Full Gear scoops. So yeah, you're getting live stuff on this podcast.
That is our plan, yeah. So hopefully that will all shake out well. So thank you again, Jeremy. Safe travels later this week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Going to be a fun week.
Definitely. So again, we will talk to you guys later. Thank you as always. Have a good weekend.